Hello. Good morning. Here we are again. It's a Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. Well, Friday for some of us, and some other ones of us have to still finish up their Thursday. But it's Friday for me, so I'm happy. Okay, so where the hell were we yesterday? Okay, so I think I built this party system pretty much done. So we can have a little bit of a check, see, before we continue. Okay, let's just change this up a bit. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Let's give it a go. Let's go to the other scene. Oh, well, we can do it from this scene, right? It doesn't matter. All I have to do is I just have to go to main menu. Then click play. Something ain't right here. Okay, so yesterday we had a power outage. And it seems like I lost some things, because yeah, definitely lost something here. Because my wife made new portraits and I imported them so that these look a little bit better. But now we're back to this, so I've got a suspicion. Yeah, no, I think it broke. Damn. Okay. But the party selection system works, and if you go and you play the game now. Okay, so we can fix some bugs, I think. That's not a bad idea. So one of them is this indicator for the Robin, right? Then I'll add the new portraits again, I guess. And from there... yeah. Okay, some other things that happened. So yesterday afternoon sometime, I reworked my movement, character movement, and even the pathfinding for the enemies a little, so that they can, well, just so that we can traverse slopes and obstacles and things like that a little bit better, right? Because currently, or what it was like, was pretty much just flat ground or nothing. They got stuck on even the smallest of little ledges or inclines. So I reworked that. It was, I mean, it wasn't a big deal because obviously we could have kept all our levels flat. But I think just giving it a little bit more height variation should give it a lot more texture, right? If that's the right word. So I think overall it's a good idea to have that capability. So yeah, this was just me testing it with a little hill that I made. So that's a new thing that I added. But yeah, let's go get our new. So let's just see if I go to my visual assets, characters, portraits. Okay, it seems like the new portrait is in here. It just got lost somehow. Okay, so that must mean the scriptable object lost the reference to it. It's kind of weird. So, because this is... yeah, this went back to the old portrait. So I just need to select for each of these scriptable objects. Go find the new portrait. Like so. You can see we have a couple of portraits there. Okay. And then I want to fix the Robin. I just realized I didn't even start the time tracker. Let's just do this under random stuff. Where's my random stuff time tracker? General bugs. Yeah, start. I actually didn't track my time yesterday as well. Hey. Oopsie. Okay. Let's open up our Ranger. Okay. Let's have a look. Why are you placed that way? I think it's just the position of this relative. So we just have to make that a 0. Yeah. I think that was pretty much all it was. Yeah, actually, and another thing, I think I want to show these. Is that okay? I don't know if that breaks. So if I show the prefab by default, right? Show them like that. Also, I believe I was fooling around with attack speed. Yeah, this guy has 3000% attack speed. So let's just change that. You are normal. 0. 0. And 0. Okay. So that's fine. And we can hide them in here, right? Oh, the other thing was I needed to change the Y. So I was testing the hill thing with the ninja only. So I need to, this freeze position I need to switch off. That was pretty much one of the main things. There we go. Now, so they should all be able to move up and down. Yeah. And I can hide them in this view, but the prefab itself shouldn't be hidden, I don't think. Okay, we can try out the characters on this level maybe. So let's see. Let's just play it. Let's just play it out. So I could just take this and make it level 2, for instance. That means it's going to be the one that I repeatedly play. Okay, let's also just check my party member and just make sure I have one of each. Yes, I do. So let's give it a play. And let's drink some coffee. Okay, that's kind of crazy that this happened. So let's see. So we have a problem. So what I think this is the really it didn't like this. Oh yeah, the dictionary thing. Yeah, so the dictionary doesn't actually exist. So the upgrade character data maybe was called or something like that. Get upgrade character data. Yeah, that's again this dumb dictionary thing. Yeah, it's this. Yeah, so it. Hey, this guy, how's it going? Oh yeah, thanks for the resub, man. I saw it. Well, there was just a notification on my activity feed before the stream even started, saying you resubbed. Thanks for that, bro. Has it really been a month since? Have I been monetized for a month? How's that even possible? Yeah, no, time is flying by. I'm doing well. You might have noticed I'm a bit late today. I think I'm going to change my schedule a little bit. Maybe start an hour later than normal. Main reason is you're around to pop it. Ah, cool. But yeah, main reason is the toddler fight in the evening can drag out a bit, and then I only get to bed a bit later, and it's been happening more often. So I keep getting like not enough sleep every night, and then that kind of adds up, right? But if I just move it by an hour, then I have a bit more grace in terms of winning the toddler fight. So I should be getting a more reasonable amount of sleep. Cool, man. Yeah. So that's the idea. Then at least if I sleep more, I might be, less terrible in the afternoons. Because I'm normally fine for the stream, right? And then, yes, like later today, I just flippin' useless. Okay. So we have this issue again. Now, I think... Okay, so one way we could do this, potentially, let's just see. So, the player manager, when it spawns in the characters, right? Because this is where the characters are created. We could potentially, so when we add the character, we could maybe just say, you know what, maybe just make the game object not active. So let's just add that. That's a very straightforward set active false. Right, so that's just for the creation of the characters. I think that'll remove that error. And it should allow me to not have the... the prefabs have to be inactive by default. Okay. So that little line of code, obviously now I should have done that. Okay, let's try this again. I should really also just go through all these errors and warnings and maybe fix them. Okay, so that's a little bit better, but it's clearly not. Okay, so what is it upset with? So if I double click on that, create more character stats, character. So this is what fails with a null reference exception error. Not this again. Hey, Damon. Damon Federic. Crazy mess? What do you mean? You talking about this? This is beautiful, man. What do you mean? My code is impeccable. I don't know why this is happening now. Yeah, so let's see. So it goes through. So more character stats start, create more character stats UI. All that good stuff happens, and it's fine with the duck. And then when it gets to the chicken, it breaks. Well, no, actually, it's not even fine with the duck, to be honest. It actually broke there as well. Yeah, so I guess it's this dictionary. Character stat manager gets stat total. And then... Yeah. Yeah, it's exactly the same flippin' dictionary that breaks. Aw, my entire project. Yeah. It's a bit crazy, eh? Okay, so let's see. Who calls character awake? Oh, I need to change this. This is so bad. Okay, so create more character stats. Checks if the character is awake. Awakens them if they are not. This is when I create the character. Okay, but this happens on awake for the start. So why the hell... No, I'm not using any of that nonsense. What are you talking about? For crying out loud. Is this really just again that... Okay. Let me just do something here. So if I switch these off again, is that really just flippin' fixing the problem? Because that's kinda stupid. Yeah, that totally fixes the problem. Okay, well, let's just fool around a bit. Let's see. I actually just want to go run up that hill. To see if the movement system is working fine. Okay, so now we can go to the hill level. I'm not gonna care about the upgrades. Let's just click random buttons here. Okay. You know what? Let's start with the chicken. So he... Oh, okay. Oh, you know what? Okay, I think... Yeah, there's definitely some funny business happening here. Something weird just happened, or I can't put by. I mean, I'm not supposed to make these hills as aggressive as they are. This is not the idea going forward. Does he walk on top of the... No, surely he doesn't. Okay, but I mean, it looks fine, I guess. I don't know. Like he traverses the hill, right? It's not that bad. Okay, let's just take the duck. Oh, jeez. Okay, what just happened there? Okay, so there's definitely some funny business happening at the start. Okay, but generally speaking, yeah, like even using your ability uphill, not a problem. Like, we're not going to make big hills like this. I don't really like that idea. But, so... Because there's a lot of other things you have to be worried about when you make a hill. Like the clipping of all the characters' feet and, you know, stuff like that. And, like, I get that it is a problem that can be solved, but it's not a problem I want to solve, right? Okay, so there's definitely something weird happening at the start. I think it's because we start inside of the hill a little bit. Okay, but let's just... okay. Yeah, that's unfortunate. So, it seems like the characters that have ranged abilities, they kind of just shoot into the hill. Okay, so I'm kind of gonna have to try and fix that. I don't think that's a problem with the ranger though. We'll see now. Okay, but this is why we test the hill. Yeah, it's kind of an issue. Yeah, look, the fire also just goes straight, right? I never had to check for collisions with terrain. Okay, let's just take the ranger, see what she does. Okay, so that's weird at the start, so... Yeah, okay, her arrows actually just hit the hill. Because I made it collide, yeah. What does the bomb do, actually? Yeah, she just leaves it wherever she was, right? So it does get placed on the hill. Oh, that's actually interesting. Let me just try that again. I think I... okay. Oh, she lands on top of the collider for the enemies. I see. Hehehe. Okay. Okay, so we either have to not be as aggressive with the hills. Okay, let's just stop there. So I'm gonna just take this level a little bit, and let's sculpt the terrain. So let's imagine, okay, we start fresh, right? So let's imagine we want a small-ish 0.05. Like, let's say we just want to raise... Oh, jeez. This looks terrible. Why is this thing so... Like, that's a tiny number. Why is it so flippin' aggressive? I'm not going to be the one doing this, by the way. This is my wife's job. I just want to see if it actually does work. Or if it's okay if you just use it for little texturing. Okay, so let's just see. So yeah, we have little dirt mounds. Okay. Like we can say this is like a little raised cobblestone road. Add layer. Let's do the which one of these look like they could be in this terrain? I guess just the normal cobblestone. But I have that one. Okay. .05. Now I'm enjoying myself, so I might as well. There's definitely something to be said about painting the environments. It is a little bit therapeutic. Oh, geez, what did I just do? Okay, so that's kind of what we need. A little bit of texturing, but definitely it's gonna still be predominantly flat, right? Okay, we can. We just need to get past this level. Okay, and I've fixed the shooting arrow indicator thing. Okay. So let's just take the owl, for instance. Yeah, so he does go up and down a little bit with the terrain, but it's not... Yeah, like, it's not as that high that, you know, the fireball clips, or even the flamethrower. Did these guys just fly? Am I just losing it a little bit here? What's... Oh, geez. I didn't rebake the mesh. Yeah, they were just, they were still walking on some other imaginary mesh. Yep. Okay. Okay, now they should at least be running it. Well, they shouldn't be running in the middle of the... Oh, well. They shouldn't be running up a hill that doesn't exist anymore, right? Okay, my UI is also not quite updating. So I think I'm just going to fix that as well. So I'm going to spend some time just fixing stuff before I continue to the next system. Okay. Oh, I didn't select, actually. Okay, but the extra height difference, I think it breaks up the environment a little bit more. Which overall is a positive effect, I believe. Actually, can I now get over this? No, I can't. Yeah, I think that's just an extra tool we have at our tool belt to make good looking levels, I think. So okay, I'm happy with that. I am satisfied with that. Okay. What other issues do we still have? Let's see, when we start up the game. Okay, I don't know what these mean. Okay, so this is that... Okay, so this is the ranger's line. This line region is giving us issues. It's complaining about some kind of a collider. Oh. Yeah, no, we don't need a mesh collider here. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, we don't need the mesh to collide with anything, to be honest. It can just kind of sit there. Okay. Okay, and then I should also go and figure out... Whoopsie. Yeah. I just want to get rid of all these debugs. Because this is no longer a thing. This was for back when I was being stupid. This is still bad. I need to fix that. I don't think that's a good idea. On wave timer reset. Don't need this debug. Yeah, just trying to clear up my console a little bit. Ooh, so many old and dumb things in this game, but it's fine. It is a working, playable game. Okay, this is from the same place. This one came from here. Let's just get rid of that entirely. This was for the character selection. Yeah, we don't need that anymore. We know this works. This test block. This was for when I was learning how to do fallbacks when clicking on visual elements. I think I figured that out. Sort of. Kinda. A little bit, right? Just a little bit. It's fine. It's good enough. Okay, these logs, I'll keep them for now. Okay, let's go back over here. I don't think there's anything else, obviously. I think I got rid of that already. Okay, let's clear it. Okay. I don't know if I actually checked the main menu. Let's just check the main menu stuff as well. Okay. I don't know. I don't remember what this 4 is for. Oh. Yeah, no. This is completely not necessary anymore. Go back to that later. Okay, if we go to main menu. Mesh Glider is not supported. Okay, this is just... These I'm gonna just have to live with. Because I think when I built this terrain, I used Unity's tree placing tool. Right, and if you have a collider on a tree and you place it in with the terrain tree placing thing, well, certain colliders don't work. And I don't want to go change the colliders for the prefabs themselves. That seems unnecessary. Okay, so if we click here, yeah, look at that. So we can check, select our party. So this looks a little bit better, right? It's not perfect. I think I can change some things here to make it even better. But generally speaking, this is at least a step in the right direction. Sort of. I would still have to figure out how to... Yeah, okay. There's obviously a lot of stuff I can still do to make the UI look good. Because this is not good UI by any stretch of the imagination. But this is the UI we have. So I'm just going to stick with it. Let's just get these levels rearranged. Are they in the correct? Yeah, like the idea, UI and making it beautiful can be such a rabbit hole, and I'm just not in the mood to go down that rabbit hole. And I ideally, like, I don't just want to use, very plain visual elements with borders and backgrounds that are just solid colors. I might want to use a nice little, 2D sprite. Oh, 2D sprite. Just some sprite instead, to give those a little bit more, pizzazz, whatever you want to call it. But I don't have that yet, so we can do that when we've started the UI design work. Okay, so for now, let's get into a new system. Okay, so let's go to our time tracker, and let's just stop this and get into items and runes, right? So I started with this back in the day, and it eventually fell apart because turns out I did not have the UI to do this. But now, since I have UI Toolkit, I should be able to figure this out. So let's go to UI Builder and let's get the UI. So there's pretty much one place I believe this is going to be most relevant, and that's on level prep. Okay, so you might remember that I had this block over here, which is runes. Okay, so I kind of want to populate this with all the available runes that we can apply to our characters, right? So that's the first thing I want to do. Okay, and what I also want to kind of do is, okay, so I need to think about how to assign runes to characters. Okay, so the interface design is obviously still a little bit of a thing. Yeah, I might have to redo the interface design, but okay. For now, the idea could be that you can click on a character, and then you click on a rune, or you click on a rune, and then you click on a character that you want to add the rune to. That probably feels more intuitive, right? Click on the rune, click on the character, wherever the character is, right? So the character could be here in the little temporary column. They could be in this one for the next level, or they can be somewhere here using one of our items, right? Okay. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to figure out how to show the runes over here. Okay, I'm just gonna, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna close all these tabs because I think I have too many open and I can't save. Just save everything. Okay. So let's go to UI. No, not that UI, this UI. UI toolkit, so we have our level prep UI. Okay, so all this nonsense. So that's the one place, and then we have this rune manager script, which currently I don't know even what it was supposed to be doing. Okay. Available rune list UI, is that a thing? Okay, let's open that as well. I didn't even realize that was a thing. Okay, so apparently I have an available rune list UI script. I don't even know where I actually... Where did I use this? So, like I said, I was halfway into implementing this, and then it obviously fell apart. Okay, so we have this rune manager, and I guess, okay. Okay, so we have the rune manager, and we have this available rune list UI. So what does this thing actually do? Add new rune to UI list. I might just have to flip and restart all of this because I have no idea what my ideas were here. Like, rune button holder. Yeah, okay. This was... Okay. Yeah, this is old nonsense. Okay, let's see if the rune manager makes a little bit more sense. So I think this was connected to my old UI system, where I had to spawn in the UI in some weird way with prefabs. Right, I don't think that's exactly how we're going to manage this going forward. So let's see what this does. So we have a list of runes. Okay, so this just sits on the player and it has a list of runes. Okay, cool. And it can have a reference to some UI element. Now, I think this will just be a reference to the level prep UI eventually, but we'll see, right? Okay. So this is an instance as well. Cool. Okay, let's see. On start, for each rune item in runes, available rune list UI, add rune to UI list. Okay, that's a thing, I guess, for testing. Yeah, that was temporary. Add rune to rune list. And then add rune to character. Okay, so I think the idea was there's a function that we can call when a rune is picked up or acquired in some way during the game. So this is how we would do that. So we just add it to our list of runes. Okay, so that's cool. So this thing kind of keeps track. It sits on the player and it keeps track of what we've acquired throughout the level, for instance, if runes are dropped in some way. Okay, so we can add a rune to a list, which means we add it physically to this list, and then we update our UI as well. Now, the UI interaction I'm going to change, but still, I see the idea. And then there's a way to add a rune to a character. So let's see how that works. So we give it a rune ID. It goes through all the runes. Okay, so this is also gonna have to change. So this behavior, I'm gonna have to fix as well. Okay, but since the runes are tracked over here, it makes sense that it then applies it to a character, right? We just need our UI to call this function. Okay, so our rune manager, since it's an instance, we don't actually have to worry about that too much. We can, I mean, it doesn't have to be an instance, right? But it is. So that's it. Okay, so we add the rune and oh, okay, yeah, we remove it from our list of available runes. Okay, so a lot of this stuff kind of makes sense. Because this, we just have to change the way we get the character to add the rune to. But essentially get component character inventory. That's correct, because we want to add it to the inventory. Into equipped items, add rune, right? So that's fine. And this kind of works already, right? The stats from the rune will be applied. Okay, cool. And then adding a rune to the rune list is well, adding a rune to this manager is okay, but all the UI stuff, I think that's gonna have to change. Okay. So let's see how we want to approach this from a UI perspective. So the runes are going to be here. They're going to look a certain way. So they need to be a visual element. So we can open up our design software. Oh no, that's not the design software. Sorry, I clicked the wrong thing. This is our design software. Okay, here we go. UI design software. This is it. The pinnacle of UI design software. Okay. Okay, so let's think about this. So let's say our rune is just a little block. Right? What information do we have in this block? So it'll be something like a rune name, right? Would be somewhere there. And then there will be a list of stats affected. So plus 20 I don't know, damage, and minus 0.5 I don't know, movement speed, and minus 20% attack speed. Right, so something like that. So you'll have a rune name, it'll give you the effects of the rune. So this information needs to be held inside of the rune somehow, right? So it's going to be a scriptable. So the data would obviously be a... this is all coming from a rune SO, right? So the rune scriptable object lives somewhere. It holds the data, which is fine, right? Now, we could also... I'm just thinking about this. So this is a visual element, right? So this visual element has information on top of it. I mean, that doesn't feel amazing. It would be cool if, you know, the rune was rather something like this, and it just had a cool little symbol in the middle. Well, I don't know, something like this. And, you know, it's some other color. It's, I don't know, yellow. That would be kind of better, right? If this is what the rune physically looked like, and then maybe when you hover over it or something like that, or if you click on it, this pops up, right? So you can see what it actually does. Right, or we can have the rune. Actually, how does Brotato do items? Let's consult, you know, the industry experts. Brotato item UI. Just want to see what this is looking like. Like if you see it inside of the game. Okay, I guess this is reasonable. Okay, why am I on Reddit now? Okay, so something like this. So we have a little icon with the name and the type, and then we just have all that. And with a button. It's not so bad. So we could do it like that as well. So then that would mean... So if we do this... So we can do something like that with our little icon over here. Our rune name over here. and then all the stats. Can just go down there. Nah, I mean, that's also okay, right? Okay, so looking at this, what do we need? So we need obviously this visual element. We need a visual element over here. We need a label somewhere next to it. And then we need a visual element over here with, well, with a label. So we need, and potentially we need a whole visual element on the top here just to separate top from bottom. And then this one has 2 columns. And then this with a label inside. Or, yeah, I mean, just having the visual elements around means we can move it a bit. Okay, and then this is just some icon. This is some label. So yeah, so this sprite comes from there, the label comes from there, this info comes from there. This general layout So I mean, it's easy enough to. Okay, so here's a bit of a thing for me now. Need to think about. Okay, but that could work. We can work with that. So let's just think about this. So currently, what I've been doing, and I don't think this is amazing or anything, but you know, I would pre-make all the slots, for instance. Same with like the character stats, right? Because I knew how many characters they were gonna be, right? There are 4 characters, and that's it. So we could easily have made 4 of these more character stats sections, and I was very it was very simple to just go and say, you know what, actually, I want to think about this. But yeah, it was very straightforward to say, okay, cool, we have these character sections, and there's 4 of them, so I put 4 of them and then just hide them. Now, runes are a little bit different, right? So it would be possible, I think, theoretically, to have a few of them, potentially. But maybe I do make it so that there's a limited inventory space for these. So if we can only have, 4 runes in this temporary rune holder, that means that you can't just accumulate them in here. You have to use them on a character, right? You can accumulate to some point, and then you kind of screwed because you have too many, right? Because I want these to be kind of powerful, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, because otherwise I would have to programmatically create duplicates or programmatically create the UI for the rune, which is not impossible. I'm just not very good at that. Like, I know it is a thing that you can do. Hey, Pixel Dank. Thanks, man. I appreciate the good luck. I need this. I need it for the UI. Like, UI just breaks my brain a bit. It's not. I mean, it's just. It feels very finicky. I don't know. I wonder if we can programmatically just like get a reference to something that I put in here and then duplicate it. Is that a thing? I should be able to do that, right? That seems like something you should be able to do. Let's test that. So let's go in here and let's add. So this is our available runes, right? So let's add a rune. And, we can do a couple of things. So let's give it a name. I want to see if this works. If this works, then it's easy. What do I want to name it? Let's just name it test rune. All right, and we can change some things about the test rune. Let's say they don't grow, because that's just going to be annoying. I might want to put this as a scroll element. Okay, but for now it doesn't matter. They don't grow. Their height is set at 250 pixels. Okay, what is their width? Well, 200. Okay, let's make them 200 by 200. Right, then we can even do this and tell it to not justify. Let's give the rune a different background color, so I can see it. A Unity plugin called Doozy UI Manager. Yeah, look, I am not gonna learn a new way of making UI now. I am fully committed to making UI Toolkit work. But thanks, man. Yeah, like I just recently got into UI Toolkit. So it's still a bit of a painful learning experience sometimes. But generally speaking, I'm getting there, right? Okay, so let's say that's our rune. Cool. We have a test rune. Let's see if I can just simply make a duplicate. So if I can get it in code and then just duplicate it, right? So in our level manager. Okay, so in all of this mess, I'm just gonna do a quick, straightforward, wait, not there, on enabled. You know what? Let's private visual element test rune. Right, we're gonna just try something, and then we want test rune to be equal to root.q. No, it's a type visual elements with the name test rune. Oop. Okay, so we can get reference to the visual element. Now, I'm just gonna do a quick for loop here. So for okay. Do I want 10 of these? I don't think so. Let's just make like 3. Right? So what I want is a so it's going to be a visual element, new rune, test. Okay, let's see, test rune dot let's see, new. So I want to create a new visual element, right? Essentially. Yeah, I want to create a visual element, but I also want to just kind of copy the test rune. So if I create a new visual element, just going to try some things here. What if I set them equal now? This is technically, I still have two distinct runes. I don't know if this is at all required, but I'm figuring it out. So, yeah, we actually also need just some container or a thing. What did I call this thing? The rune container or something? Available runes. Okay. Let's just call it the rune container. Okay, and then we can also get the rune container here. Rune container equals root.q. It's a type of visual element with a name. Available runes, I believe. Okay. So we get our rune container, and now let's just do rune container dot add new rune 3 times. Right, it's I'm gonna play around with this. This is just me playing around. So let's see what happens. Hello? Where's my Unity gone? Is it trying to recompile? So I should see more red bars when that piece of code runs, which only happens when I click this. Okay. So it didn't create more runes. Interesting. I should actually... Wait a minute. Let's at least put a debug here to see whether or not... Okay, so adding a new rune like this doesn't work. And this might have just... Okay, we can also just add a test rune. I don't know if that works either. That might work actually, now that I think about it. Let's do a debug.log. Add test rune. That could be okay, I don't know. Learning on the fly. Learning by just coding this stuff up and seeing what happens. Just like there's a ton of warnings. Add test. Okay, so it ran definitely, right? So if I go to next level, we can clearly see we don't actually have more test runes. So let's just go to... Let's just do our debugging for the Unity toolkit, because that kind of is pretty cool. So if I pick this element, yeah, okay, we only have one test rune. Okay, you know what? I tried some things. Let's just do a quick Google how to duplicate let's say a visual element in C sharp. Where's my sharp? Yes, in C sharp Unity. Okay, clone or copy. What do I do? Clone. Okay. New element, all element.clone or new element. Okay, visual element. Okay. What did I just do? I clicked something. No way to clone a visual element. What you can do instead is create a new one and then set the same USS classes, event handlers, and so on. Yeah, I'm not reading all of this. Okay, so it seems like this is not really something you meant to do. So that could mean that the way we do this is just by making a function that creates a visual element and nests all the other things inside of it that we need. It's kind of weird that I can't just add. Well, let's see. So if I think I see what it does. If I add a new rune. So what I can do is something like I could create. So I could say new. Yes, I'm struggling to type these days. I don't know why. New rune dot. Was it add to class list? Right, then we just give it a class list name. Okay, so we can just make this the rune background. Right, so rune background, that's our class. Okay, great stuff. In UI builder. So then in level prep UI, I can do dot rune background, for instance. And I can apply it to this guy, and I can tell this guy to unset all your nonsense. So get rid of everything. What just happened? Oh, rune background got moved. Why does it just do that? That's so annoying. What the hell? Ugh, yes. Not this nonsense again. Okay, so the rune background is going to be added to the test rune. And, no, what the hell? This is so annoying. What? Why do you do that? Well, this is frustrating. Okay, but the rune background was added. Anyway, so let's try this. So rune background. So we can just do width and height 200, and for now we can do something basic like just change the background color a little bit, so that is working. And you know what, we can give it a radius. Why not? Okay, so something like that. We can even give it an outline of 20 width and a color of white. Some whitish pink color. Okay, there we go. That's our rune. Now they're pretty small, I guess. Yeah. Like if you think about this in comparison to what we have in something like Brotato, this is quite a small little thing, right? This is just an icon size almost. Like I'm not going to be having a significant amount of information in there, I don't think. Okay, but anyway, there's our test rune, and we use the rune background style set to make it look like anything, right? So now, inside of this thing, we add the class rune background, and we add the new rune. Right, and what we can also do is something like give the new rune a name. Right, so we can easily make a string here, which is, let's just call it name, and then we can do string dot format, and yeah, we just want something like rune. Well, the rune name can be a lot of things, but let's just do for now something like this, and we just pass in I like that. Right, so it's going to be rune 0, 1, 2 basically. Okay, so we have a name for the rune. We add it to our class list. Well, we add the class list to it, rune background, so it should apply the styling. And then we just add it to our rune container. Okay. So the visual element should exist now, theoretically. This is gonna fight me so much. I should. Maybe I can do this in a better way. Because I don't want to generate these visual elements every time I have to do something with a rune. Okay, we can. Let's just see if this works for now. Just testing my theory here, and then I have another thing that I'm going to try. This is. Yeah, this is unfortunately how it goes, I guess. I can make my own partial class that inherits from visual elements and place them in the UI builder. Okay, but this, I mean, this is technically working. Yeah, okay. So if I have a new rune. Actually, I want to try something else. UXML progress bar public. Partial class progress bar visual elements. Okay, wait, so would that be then like one of these? Probably not. But am I? I don't know. Okay, but this at least does that. I just want to try. I'm just fiddling around, right? The problem is I can see what you're saying, but I'll have to try it before I understand what you are saying. Like I can read it, but it doesn't make any sense. Unfortunately, right? Okay, but here's something else I want to try. What if I set the new rune equal to my test rune? Just want to try something here. Alright, so I create a new rune, I make it equal to my test rune, I give it a different name. Oh, I didn't actually give it a name. I just created a name. Whoopsie. I give it a different name. And then I add it. What does that do? And now I'm just going to add an additional element to my test rune. Just to see what this does. And again, this is just me figuring things out, right? So this might be completely impossible what I'm trying to achieve here, but yeah, let's make a blue one, right? So this is now my test rune. It's blue. The other ones are red if they just inherit the base style. And yeah, it feels like I'm still on my learning curve here for UI elements. Like I figure stuff out and it starts to look like I'm doing something and then I hit a wall like this. Okay, so that just doesn't work. You cannot set them equal. That is not a valid statement. Once you do that, it kind of just breaks. Okay, cool. Fine. Okay, so this doesn't work at all, so you can't do this. You can't change them like that. You can add the name, you can add them to this class and everything. So let's see what are you trying to say here, this guy. I'm copying your code in here. It doesn't like the fact that you said it's just a quick example. So what did this actually do? You see, I don't understand this syntax or anything. So okay, I understand what that is. This is just the name, I guess, of the element. So does this create like a new element called progress bar? Or and then it references this? Who knows? Can I see something different in UI Builder, you say? Drag and drop it in the UI Builder now. Okay, where is it? Is it in this? Is it under standard? If you go to the builder, click on the root, DXML. Oh. Oh, the class needs to be in its own file. Oh, okay. So, oh yeah, this is actually giving me an error now. Okay, it says it's ambiguous, so I guess I should change the name for a beginning. So, oh, but isn't this... So I guess that's the name, right? The thing I give it. Oh, geez, yes, some other stuff happened here now. We have more buttons here. Oh, geez. Look at all these new buttons. Okay, but this is editor extension authoring, right? So this means... I'm assuming these are now things to change the way Unity itself looks. Because I know you can use UI Toolkit to change your own... to actually just create new elements in the... Oh! Is this what you are trying to make me do? You're trying to make a new component, is that it? Or not? Okay, you said I should give it its own file, right? Because otherwise it doesn't work. So let's just say just a mono behavior or just a file. So do I do an empty C# script? Call it new progress bar. Let's see. Like maybe something clicks here. So I have an empty C# script called new progress bar. So I get rid of all of this, I assume. Stick it in here. This is now a class, and I can play with it. Yeah, this is the test one. This one will get deleted. Don't worry. Ugh, then make an empty constructor. What the hell does that even mean? I don't know how to do these things, man. I've like heard about this thing called a constructor, but I've never actually had to use it or think about it besides that. Okay. Is that a constructor? Is this a constructor? I'm new, man. Turns out. The thing is, I don't have enough time to learn. I just have enough time during my day to try and do. And it kind of, it hinders the learning a little bit. Okay, so we just created a partial class, I assume. Inheriting from the progress bar visual image. I don't know what this is. Is this my class? Should I rename this class as well? Because I renamed it there as the UXML element got renamed, but this now could be a problem as well. Yeah, it doesn't need to match, but this also doesn't. This is a new class, right? The class called progress bar. So 10 references in 3 files. You see, that's what I mean. Like, this is something that Unity or something somewhere else uses this already. So let's just call it the new progress bar instead. Just saying, I'm just in case. Right, this is a bad thing. If I rename this, it should only affect this file for now. It shouldn't have other things are named a progress bar, and it's trying to go and change those things. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Okay, let's try it. So we have the UXML element has a name now, and it's a public partial class of this type, which is now a new type of class that extends visual element. And this is a constructor, which I have no idea what that does. Anyway, okay. So with all that being done and saved, I'll just save some more. Somewhere here, there should now be a thing popping up here, huh? Add other elements. Oh, is that like how they do the scroll wheel? Because you have this scroll wheel, but if you actually open it up, there's like 15 things inside there nested. Oh, is it in project? Hey, look at that. New progress bar. Why is it highlighting something there? There we go. We have a new progress bar. What does it do? Nothing. Okay. That's pretty interesting. That's pretty... Okay, so you're saying... Yes, like, look at me learning. Feel my brain. Inside here, I need to add new things, right? Okay, I see what you're saying. But I can't edit that class inside the UI builder, right? Like, for instance, okay, so this would be amazing. This would be amazing if I could add a visual element as a child and then somehow update all of them to be that now. But I guess that, yeah, you can add stuff inside it. But what I mean is, like, if I now create a new progress bar, there's no way to tell it. Like, I would normally create a template. That's how I would go about this. But yeah. So that was the way I was going to. Ah, okay. You're saying there's a the new. This one. Like that. Huh. So inside, I just want to see, so inside the constructor, how do we add that? Do we just do a public... Okay, now it seems like public is not a thing now. So how do we do things inside of the constructor? So this is a constructor now, hey? I have no idea how to work with the constructor. Oh, you just do visual, you just give it the name of the thing. Oh, okay, so the public private keyword things isn't a... that's not a thing anymore, hey? So visual element new. So this creates a new visual element inside of this thing. And you do all of this inside of the constructor. I should really figure out what a constructor is. So, and now if I wanted, I could do visual element. Nested element new, and can I do element dot add nested element? Is that possible? So I'm assuming if you just do add, that automatically references my new progress bar and adds it to that. But if I did this, now I'm putting an element inside of an element. Not inside a constructor. Okay, yeah, so that's the public-private thing that I was trying to do. Okay. Okay, so a construct, everything inside of a constructor happens inside of the constructor. There's no way of getting access to this ever outside. It's not like you can have a function inside of a constructor being called from outside of the constructor. I don't know. This is some other nonsense. I need to do a proper C# course or something, because I think there's probably a million things I'm not aware of being a thing. Okay, so now my progress bar automatically got a visual element and another one inside. Okay, yeah, because that's just a class, right? So I can do public void do something, right? That works, because this is just inside a class now, right? That extends the visual element, but the constructor is not something we can call like that. Okay. My other class? Oh, like in the rune manager or wherever I want to be. I can tell it new progress bar. Do I just need to do this? And then it will... What? Is this right? Is this right? So now on start I would have a progress bar. And then I can just add the progress bar. Okay, I didn't want to do this here actually. So theoretically what you're saying is I could create... Oh, okay. So I basically got this working now. I guess I don't need this either, hey? Okay. Okay, so now I have a progress bar that's new. And I can take this and add that to my rune container instead of the rune. And I can even give it a name and all that good stuff. Okay. Yeah, it could be a rune. Yes, you're right. Okay, so this gets me... Okay, that's interesting. So I'm just thinking... Okay, so if I think about this... Okay, what would be the case Why is this better than just making a template and inserting the template in here? And the classes you're talking about there that you can add at runtime. Do you mean the style class? This one. What happens if I take this progress bar and I add it to the class list? What's that going to do actually? I want to see what this thing's going to do now. Just want to see. Just want to see, right? Because I made it loop now and do a few of these, right? At least there's no errors. Hey, look at that. So if I go to my UI toolkit, debugger, yeah, we got a bunch of new progress bars. And we added the background class to it. Okay. Well, the selector, right, to make it look like something. So the idea would be maybe we need... Okay, so... My belief now is a good way to use this now is to have, let's say, a separate style sheet for this new progress bar that we created. Let's say, or let's say we have a rune, right? Let's just talk about the rune. So we can create a style sheet for the rune with a bunch of selectors, and then on whatever screen I want to display runes using this constructor thing that we just did, I should just have that style sheet added as well. Right? Would that be sensible? Because we can just add to, like, the level prep editor, I can just add a new style sheet. And then I only define things for the rune there, and then I just make sure I have that style sheet wherever I try to generate the rune. So if I know this screen will at some point have a rune on it, I can just stick it there. If on some other screen I also want to put a rune, I can just stick it there again. And so if I understand this correctly, what's actually kind of cool now is I can... So generating the thing like this means I can click and drag it in, and I can edit the style sheet. So I could now do create new USS. Okay, let's just do this correctly. So we can call this rune style. Right, and I can do inside the rune style, I can now add, let's say the rune background will go there instead. Okay. There's probably other ways we could do this, but anyway. So rune background. And then we can do something like, you know, rune text. Let's say. Okay, it's a bit. Okay, we might have to do it like this. Okay. But it'll look through all of these styles and it'll find rune text. So now in my constructor, what I can do, I could just in my constructor do this, right? So in here, I can do a label. Label, new label. Like this thing auto completes it like that, but you're telling me this works as well. Anywho, so then I can add this label to, well, I can do a couple of things to this label. So I can do label, label dot add to class list. The class for this thing would be rune text. Oh, crying out loud. Okay, so let's think about this. So we have the label, we add rune text, and then we can do a label dot text. Let's just actually, can we take? Okay, wait. Oh, you mean this thing? So I could put it here, and then use it there and in the function. So that works the same way. Okay, cool. I'll keep that there. Look, this is going to be a throwaway script, so I'm just chugging things in here so I have it as a reference. But now, okay, I can do things like label. Oh yes. Well, I don't know if that's such an oh yes. But now I can make a public void update text. So I can update the text for the label, let's say, and what I put in here is I actually get a rune item scriptable object, something like that, right? So the data lives in that scriptable object somewhere. Yeah, you can see, hey, this is happening. It's happening. Okay, cool. And then I can be like, oh, okay, cool. We have our rune item scriptable object, which honestly I can't remember what's in here. A bunch of stuff, right? A bunch of nonsense. But let's say, I'm crying out loud. This is, yeah, okay. Don't look at that. It's fine. But anyway, so it could have text, and we can now quickly do label dot text equals rune item is o dot damage dot toString, whatever. Right, so we change the text in the label to that, and we can just call this function at some point, right? Alright, let's see. Passing the run data to the constructor would be a good idea in this case. Oh, can you do this? Oh my greatness. So then I can even have, when I make this thing, I can give it a reference over here, and I can make, I can do rune item is O. Let's call it the rune. And then over here, when I do the constructor, I can just say rune equals that. Yeah, and now I can use rune everywhere, and I don't need, when I update the text, I don't need to give it anything. I could just do rune. Okay. So that's cool. So now the constructor needs this. So that means, where exactly do I do that? In here. When I do new, I need to give it a rune, which is not a thing that exists in this context, but I get it. I see. Yeah, it's like it. So we could let's just for now a rune. What the hell am I typing here? Private. This should be rune item SO. Rune SO. So I could just pass the rune SO in here. Now, obviously, you can imagine that this is gonna be different, right? But like, I'm just getting the concept under my belt, and then we can build a new thing from scratch. So what happened here now? What? How's this a thing? What did I do? Does not have a public default constructor. Oh, this doesn't work. Oh, this thing kind of changed. Okay, so the constructor just needs to be blank. Okay, but I can have a function here, public void. If I wanted to do it this way, void add rune, right? If I really needed that, I could do that, and then I can do. But then this doesn't work, so I need to get that out of there. But then again, I don't necessarily need that anymore. But this is a. It's not like this thing is a instance or singleton. It's going to be, yeah, we're going to have new things for everything, so we can add new runes, and it can remember the rune that we added. Yeah, okay, so we need a rune item SO, call it rune item SO. So this is fine. And that means in level prep, I don't do this. We create a new one. But then I can do new progress bar dot add rune, and I can just add the rune SO. And that means, alright, so now the rune is there, and I can now do something like new. Like I can imagine that I could do this. I could have given the update text function the rune SO like I did initially. That's also fine. But now there's a reference to the rune, and if there might be more than one thing that I want to update. I might just want a big, let's say, create rune function, and then in the constructor I can call that function as well. Actually. Theoretically. Somehow, I'm not exactly sure. Maybe it's not possible because maybe I can't give it a rune already. I don't know, but this is kind of nice. I'm learning some stuff here. I still don't understand entirely what any of this means, to be honest with you. Public partial classes. So I'm guessing this UXML element thing that I put here at the start, or all of this, right, in these brackets. Like, I think I could do it like this as well, right? This is kind of like how the scriptable objects work, where you just give yourself a way to get this thing inside of your inspector, right? So that is what makes this possible. And similarly with a scriptable object, like if I open just one of these, yeah, we have this asset menu in this case that we need to create, which just all that does really is it gives you the ability to right click here and go, where do we go? Create scriptable objects, and then that. Right, and that is my understanding of this little bit of code at the start here in the square brackets. It's a way to inject this into Unity so you can easily work with it. Okay, cool. Okay, and then this is just a class that extends another class. What does the partial keyword do? Okay, public makes sense, class makes sense. This extends the visual element, obviously, but what is the partial for? That's now me just showing off my ignorance when it comes to... Anyway. Okay, so we have a class list. Okay, we add the rune text to our label, and we can call this function to add a rune, and then this one to update our text. Okay, so let's try some of this. Okay, so in the UI builder now, we have rune text, and it'll automatically pick up rune text, and I can edit it now. So this new progress bar that's sitting over here, okay, there's no label. Did I forget to add the label? I might have forgotten to add the label. Ah, yes, I did. So elements dot add label. Okay, so let's just do that. And now when I come back here, it should recompile and figure out that there should be a label there. Yeah. Okay, so there's the label. Okay, so if I click on this thing, can I... Okay. This guy. You need to teach me some things now. So here's the problem. Okay, so it's got the rune text, but I can't access this text field, right? And since I'm assuming, okay, I'm only gonna add, so the update text function will only be called when I actually play the game, right? Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to ask you. How do I make it so that I can get an attribute, essentially, for the label? So I can change the text. This is just a default value. So what I'm trying to get to is I just want to put some placeholder text there so I can see whether my rune text select is actually doing anything. How do I do that? With a public here. So now this is a public label. Let's see what that does. I want to, like, you know, with the, if you look at like one of these other ones, like a button, right? If I added a button in here. So the button obviously, okay, no, the button is its own thing. So it has a text attribute. So how do I? The button is a bad example. I think actually a progress bar is a good example. So the progress bar over here has a title, a value, high value. Okay, wait, no, yeah. you kind of have to drill down to this label. My progress. Yeah, so this text, that text attribute in the label is connected to this title at the top here. The top level attribute. So I kind of wanna have that exposed. So it seems like they create a new attribute. I have no idea how that would work. I don't even understand why. Like, we have basic stuff here, I think, which is just linked to a visual element, but I kind of want to expose the labels attribute, the text attribute. So here we have attribute. What does attribute do? What is this? Show potential fixes. Don't think that's the problem. Attribute. I'm assuming whatever attribute I want, it should be one that's linked to my UI elements in some way. I wonder if we can do something like label dot so it's a text attribute that I want. Yeah, no, so this is just a text element text. I don't think it's gonna get me there. Yeah. Yeah, so it has the add to class list, but nothing else. Hmm. You mean this one? Serialized field private label. Like that? Would that be... Okay. Well, let's see what that does. Nothing changed. So it adds the style correctly and all that good stuff. That's nice. Like, and I can change the text, obviously. Could we... Is there a way? Okay, wait. Couldn't we get the script that enables the progress bar and see how they do it? Where would I get that? How do I find that piece of code? Because I'm assuming that exists somewhere, right? If I can get that, I could be able to figure it out. It doesn't allow it? What do you mean it doesn't allow it? Doesn't allow what? Okay, yeah. I could just set the default text. It's fine. Actually, yeah, it's fine. It doesn't make a big difference to me. Yeah, because I just needed to have text because otherwise I can't see. Text equals defaults. Okay, so we do that to add the label. Now it should recompile and I should be able to see the actual label. Yeah, I mean, that's a good enough. Okay. There we go. So now we can see the label somewhat. So now if I go to Rune Text, right, and I change it up. So Rune Text color, for instance, I make it white. Hey, look, I can see it. I make it bold. So now I can at least see what the text would look like. And similar with Rune Background. Actually, why does Rune Background not do anything? Oh, because I didn't add that by default, right? I added that in here. Yeah, so I don't want that. I actually just want Rune Background. Not on at runtime, but when we do the constructor. Yeah, so this not that visual element, but maybe that visual element. I don't know actually. Dot add to class list. So we can call this the Rune background. And now if I go back, it should find it and update it. Yeah. Okay. There we go. So now we can kind of see what's happening here. Okay. Oh yeah, and Rune Background also set the size for me. So it's already the right size. Fantastic. I think also I didn't need to have the text like this. Because Rune Background, I believe it'll apply this text size to everything below. Yeah, and then this one will override the default, right? So now any text labels I put inside of this would actually, yeah, okay. So I could just use a default text and then use Rune Text, or maybe just Rune Heading or something like that for the rest. Okay, I think I'm getting there. Okay, so this is how we'll... And now if I do things like, you know, make it centered or whatever, that'll work. And if I take this thing and I want to make the alignment different, like this stuff, yeah, I can do that as well. It's a bit weird, some of these. It's not very intuitive. But yeah, can also change this alignment again. Fantastic. Interesting. Align self changed that one, but not this one. The test rune got changed, but not the new progress bar. Interesting. Very strange. Anyway. Okay, I think I see where we're going with this. Okay, so let's do it for real then, I guess, right? Okay, I'm gonna go to the restroom, get me some coffee, come back, and then we're gonna do it for real. I think that's the plan. Let's do that. I think we've done enough learning. We can start implementing. Okay, let me just do this thing. Okay, be right back. 2 minutes. Hello. I'm back. Let's go. Okay. Hey, Mr. Human Limits. How's it going, man? Yeah, I just took a break. I'm back. Okay. Am I back? Yeah, I did unmute myself. Okay, fantastic. Okay. One thing I'm still a bit interesting to me. So, what if... So this constructor thing is very cool, right? Like, I learned a new thing, and that's nice. Okay, I like it. My only other issue is how will it at some point become a problem in terms of complexity? I feel like it shouldn't be a problem. I don't actually know. Okay, so what I was thinking about, how this thing's gonna look, in the actual game. Jeez, like it. So much nonsense here. Okay, let's just for now hide everything else so we can actually see what we're working on, right? Okay, so this is my idea. You're saying it's fine, eh? You're not annoyed yet. Okay, so how easy would it be? Okay, well, this is where my concern came from, right? So I'm thinking about this. It looks cool. It looks amazing. It's great. So now I want to actually design this Rune UI. So it's going to be a little picture or something, right? Some icon, something like that, right? And it needs a title. Like it needs to be called something. Okay, that's nice. Then, when you should it be the case that only when you hover over it do you see some of the more detailed text? Now, the only reason I'm thinking about that is because this is kind of a small little space that I'm giving it. I'm not allocating a lot of screen space to this thing, so I'm worried that jamming in a nice icon and a name and then a bunch of text for all the effects that it has is just a non-starter, right? It's not going to work. Okay. So making a pop-up appear where would that happen, right? you see my thing. How would I make that happen? Yeah, we could do the same thing. Oh, I see where this guy's going. I see where this guy's going. Yeah. Visible to true. Okay. That's cool. I see what you're doing. So the only thing is, would it now... So let's say I want the pop-up to be like a little bit larger, like it fills more space on the screen. So it cannot be a child. It needs to grow beyond Um, okay, so you make it an absolute position. Yes, like it. UI is such a flippin' mission. Wow, it feels like I didn't do anything this complicated, making the whole damn game work. Okay, yes. It's like, yeah, everything I've done up to this point has been super simple and straight. You want the guy to walk, just, make an animation and it works. But this, for crying out loud, it seems like it's way too difficult for what it needs to do. Okay, I think I see what you're saying. And I believe we can do this. It'll still require me to learn a few more new things, but okay. So as a start, let's just get rid of this. So we have our default rune. So our rune style is pretty much fine. I don't have to change that. But I think I'm going to make a new class, the real one for the rune, right? So in my UI, in my UI scripts, UI toolkit. So this is where I made my new progress bar. Should I make this a folder? This is going to be a thing that I do often. Oh, nice, Mr. Human Limits. You got it to do saving and loading? I haven't even thought about that. But it's probably, you know what? It's probably going to be simpler than the UI. It's probably going to be super straightforward. Oh yeah, this guy, that makes sense. So we can just make a tooltip, and then we don't have to. Yeah, we can use it again for other things that'll display more information about something, which is a good idea, because if you think about it, there could be a lot of things that need explanation. Okay, so let's create a folder and call it custom UI elements. Right, and this is where we're going to go with this, right? So we create a new script. Let's see. So we have scripting empty C#. So this would be the rune element. I don't know what to call these things. Yeah, I'm going to keep it a rune element, right? It's extending visual element. It's a rune element, yes. Yes! Okay, and then we'll make a tooltip right now, because I can see this is going to be a thing. Okay, create new empty class, and let's call it tooltip. No problem, Mr. Human Limits. Yeah, when you post it, send me a link. Throw out a link to the itch.io, or at least the name or something, so I can find it. Then we can go give it a try. Okay. So we got our rune element now, which is nice and clean, and our tooltip. Okay, so both of these are going to be similarly structured to this, right? So we need this type of thing to be able to find and use it. So UI element, this is going to be the rune element. Okay. And then this one is just going to be a... Like, tooltip seems like such a common name for a thing. I feel like there's already a thing like that. Okay, so we need to do a public partial class and extend visual element, right? So partial class, and we extend visual element. And the same thing here. It's a partial class. And we are going to extend a mono behavior. No. Visual element, right? Okay. So this is a start. And then we need a constructor, which is just this, right? New progress bar, or it's just a public rune element. Like that. Huh? I'm putting the wrong brackets. Yeah, something like that. Okay, cool. We got our rune element constructor, and we need a public tool, a tooltip. Thank you. Okay, there we go. We've started. Yeah, buddy. You're also not limited to extending from visual element. You can extend from anything: label, button, slider, sidebar, slider. Yes, I think I've heard of that. I think I knew that. Like normally you extend from mono behavior, right? And this is just some other thing Unity has that you can extend from. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but visual element is the most basic one, right? In terms of the UI toolkit stuff. All the other ones have a bunch of extra things associated with them. Okay. Anyway, so our rune element, I think a lot of what we needed, we kind of did there. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this, potentially, stick it in there. Okay, so we need to create a new element. Okay. So our rune element will itself, should it be the background itself? Or do I create an element inside of it that is the background? Who knows? Okay, but we can add a private rune item SO, and we can just call it the let's just call it the rune item SO, right? Let's just keep it straightforward. Okay, so we can access and change it if we need it, or well, we can give it what it needs. Do we want to do that? I don't know if that's really necessary. Yeah, we'll add things as we need it, right? Just because we can doesn't mean we should right now at this very moment. Okay, so if we open up, let's actually do this. Let's put that there, and then we open up our design software over this side. Right, so what do we actually need here? Okay, so we kind of changing the design up a bit. So I think the rune itself is actually going to look different now. So it's just going to be the block, right? And obviously it's got some styling. So then we have rune name. And inside we have some kind of an image. Right, so it just needs a little bit of a border or a background or something with a name and an image. And then as soon as you hover over it, the tooltip appears. How do you add? Okay, this is an interesting one. Okay, so we just need a background, so we don't necessarily need. Okay, you know, I'm just gonna delete this stuff. Okay, so what do we need to construct? Well, we need to do background No. Add to class list. Rune. Oh, jeez. Rune background. Background. Okay, so we just have the class list for the rune. Maybe we just have a class list rune. Why not? Just rune. Because if I think about this, there's not a lot of stuff going to be inside here. There might be information in here, but it's not something we need to show. So the rune could have all the background stuff and the text stuff associated with it already. Yeah, so we just add the rune to that, and then we'll make a label. New. Okay, so this is maybe something that we might want to add up here. Private label, and we'll just call it the rune title. Okay, why is this thing now upset with me? It's ambiguous? You've got to be kidding me. I just have... I don't have reflection emit here. I don't want to use that. What? Don't know how that came. Yeah, but I didn't add that. Who did that? Wasn't me. Okay. Okay, so rune title is just a new label, and we can then do add rune title, right? So that'll be the first thing we add. Okay, and then we need an image. Rune icon, right? Okay, then rune icon, we just need to create a new image. Well, you're the one who added that. Okay, and then we just add the rune icon. If we do it this way, add the title, then add the icon, they should be correctly ordered above and below. Okay, and now what we can do is we can have a public void update rune info. Or this could just be the create. Oh, you know what? We could do this, can't we? Oh wait, we can't. The constructor is the thing that creates the rune. So public void. So we create an empty room and then a rune, and then we need to do update rune or set rune info. So let's just do something like that. And this thing needs to get access to the rune item SO. Something like that. And now the rune title be equal to the rune item SO dot not health regen dot name. I'm actually not sure. What is my rune item SO like? I think I opened this and then I close it immediately. Okay, scriptable objects, rune item. Okay, so it's got a rune item name. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna use. So not name, but rune item name. Okay, it doesn't like that. Oh, rune title dot text. Right, we need to update the text specifically. So we update that. And the image, so rune icon dot sprite will need to be equal to rune item so dot something like a rune. Okay, so this one is not going to work because I don't think we have in our item so an icon. So we have a item ID, I guess, a rune color, some stats, and stuff like that, I guess. So let's just add a public sprite. And this is just going to be rune icon. Right, something like that. I don't know, straightforward. Okay, so the actual rune icon image will just be set equal to the rune icon. Okay, so that's just setting the rune info. We just need the name and the item, and I guess we need a reference to the item SO potentially because... Okay, so how does the hover work? Right, so we add to class list rune. So we'll create that. Okay, so let's go back to Unity. Unity is compiling. Okay, let's take a sip of coffee. Okay. Hey. Okay, so let's... Yeah, so rune background just becomes .rune for now. Right, that's just how it goes. And rune text is not a thing anymore. Okay, we save that. And now our progress bar can go away. Okay, so inside available runes, we should now have, if we go to project, a rune element that I can click and drag into available runes, right? So boom, we have a rune element. So the rune elements, now if we open it up, has a label and an image. They don't have any names or anything like that. Okay. Now, if we add a selector, we call it dot rune hover, right? Okay. So this thing should... How do we get this thing to do something with code? Yeah, we can do like some animations and stuff and transitions and all that good stuff. But this is just basically another CSS element. Or do we say when a rune element gets created, it itself creates a tooltip that it hides? And then that tooltip gets added to the class rune hover. Interesting. This is interesting. So if I go here, so in my tooltip, we have a constructor, right? But it doesn't do anything. But it will create a visual element. Okay, so what if I do... Okay, I'm just going to try something. So what if we have a private tooltip, a tooltip, Can I do tooltip dot equals new tooltip? Okay, so this doesn't work. Cannot implicitly convert type tooltip to string. What? What does that mean? String. Tooltip is already a thing. Yeah, okay, so tooltip. Wait. No, it's not. This works. It is picking up this one, right? Why is it trying to make a string? Ah. There's already a class named tooltip. I see. Okay, so this tooltip okay, so there's already a class named tooltip. And it's trying to get to this thing, I guess. No. I don't understand. What is happening here? Why can't I create a new tooltip? I don't understand why this is happening. Oh. Oh, I'm dumb, that's why. Yeah, no, now it works. Okay, so we created a new tooltip. Crying out loud. Okay, now if we create a tooltip and then we do tooltip dot add why does the tooltip not have a dot add to class? It should have that, right? Because it is a type. It is its own thing. I don't understand. It is extending from visual elements, so why? Like if I go here and I can do add to class, like that's fine. Yeah, because I kind of want to add it to a class. This is how I think it should work, at least. So you create a new tooltip and you add it to the class Rune Hover. Yeah, but it doesn't have that function. But it should have. Like, why wouldn't it have? Like, Rune Element should have that as well, right? And it did. As far as I remember, because we could when we did our level prep UI, I was able to add it to a class from this side because it's just extending a visual element. Right? Yeah, this is creating a new tooltip, which is an extension of visual element. So why does it not give me that ability? So if we set rune info, could we do tooltip.add? That's annoying. Okay, let's go to level prep UI. So if I did here, new, well, okay, so I do rune element, right? Rune equals, well, I could just do new. Then I can do rune dot add to class list. And just give it a rune element, rune new, add to class list. So that works. But when I do it to the tooltip, is it because it's in a constructor? So I create a new tooltip and then I do tooltip dot add to class list does not exist. I think it still thinks it's a string. Yeah, visual element dot tooltip. Oh, whoa, wait a minute. So the visual element so does a visual element already have a tooltip? Is that already a thing for a visual element? Yeah, I think it's already it's already a thing for a visual element, which means any visual element will already have a tooltip, and it's kind of confused. Like if I just do, yeah, like here I did a new rune, and I can do new rune, which is just a base, yeah, tooltip, and the tooltip is a type. Okay, so tooltip's already a thing. This is only supported in the editor UI. Okay. Okay. So I should rename this to something else. Okay. So we could just make this a game tooltip, which is different from the tooltip that Unity has, because that's only in editor. This is a game tooltip now. Okay. Let's also just go rename that inside of our folder. So we rename this to game tooltip. So this is going to be a tooltip that's available to us. Okay, and now, yeah, this game tooltip will be Let's just do that. Save. Okay, and everything should start recompiling now. Found it. Yeah, I had a feeling Tooltip was too generic of a class name, and that something somewhere probably has that name already. Okay, now that should mean I could go create my new tooltip, and then I can make game tooltip dot add to class list. So if I understand this correctly, I can literally do rune hover like that, right? So now it will follow whatever that class tells it, right? Correct. And I can obviously add actually I might have to do some other things before I add it, but anyway, I can add the game tooltip like that. Okay, so let's try this. I don't know how we would try this, but anyway. So there is now a tooltip inside here, and it's sitting over there, but it should have rune hover as its, and it does. Right, so if I take rune hover and I change this and I say, you know what, I actually want this, let's see, to be hides the element in the container. This might have an impact on the layout. Yeah, I just want to do display off. No, display on. Okay, wait, so how the hell do I... No, wait a minute, this is a weird one. So rune hover should... Wait. Maybe I shouldn't use rune hover. Maybe I should make it a rune tooltip and then rune tooltip hover, so that by default it's got something, and then on hover it changes. Yeah, I think I'm being dumb. Yeah. I wanna add a selector to this. Call it rune tool tip. Yeah, I could use mouse events. Well, I mean, I haven't tried this whole hover thing. Let's see what it does for me, right? Let's see where I can get to. So, but we can add a rune tooltip. Yes. And get rid of this thing, because that doesn't mean anything now. And then we can do a... Hello? We can do this as a rune tooltip. Oh my goodness. This one can have hover. Okay, so like that. And then in the constructor, I don't do that because that doesn't mean anything. I do rune tool tip instead. Okay, and now in here I can mess with it, right? So let's see what I can do. So the first thing is that the normal rune tooltip would just be not visible at all, right? And so yeah, just display nothing, and the hover one just changes that, right? So that's the main difference between the two. Okay, what else? Okay, so let's look at the tooltip. Okay, so the position mode relative. So we can make it absolute. Or relative, doesn't really matter. So when this thing pops up, I don't actually want it to... I don't want it to change the size or, you know, do anything funny. I want it to be over top of the other things. The problem is it's got siblings. I want to be at... It needs to kind of pop up over everything else. So I think it should be absolutely positioned, right? And I don't know what any of that means. Flex and grow, I don't know. Yeah, siblings. I know, right? Okay, so let's make the width like, I don't know, 250 by 250. Alright, just give it a size for now. And let's give it an outline color, nice and red, so I know it's happening. Oh, that's a text outline. Sorry, that's not what I want. I want the... Well, we can give it a background, very black background, something like that. And let's give it a border, super red, thick border with a nice radius. Okay, and then we can also do transitions and animations and stuff like that, which I don't know what that'll do. Okay, we could just change the display. Duration 1 second. No, 0.5 seconds. Easing. Ease. Yeah. Ease. Delay, nothing. Alright, let's just see if that does anything. So that should now transition the display only. Right, it's the only property the hover thing does anything with. And then the basic tooltip looks like that. Now, okay, let's just for testing purposes say that the tooltip was actually visible. So it looked like that. Okay, yeah, we can just actually toggle that quickly. So we can give it opacity and whatever. All right, let's see if we can change the way it orientates itself. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so we can... Well, that's pretty much what I want, right? I want it to just go somewhere. So why is it so small? Why is the height auto? I'm pretty sure I made it. Okay, so there's our tooltip when you hover over it. So when you hover over that thing, this is what's going to appear with all our text and nonsense. I mean, it looks terrible, right? But it's fine. Let's say it's a very long tooltip. I like long tooltips. There we go. Okay, but we can hide it. So we do display nothing. Okay, I kind of want to make this thing run now. There might be some problems. Especially here in my level prep UI where I go through. Okay, so I'm creating new runes. Okay, well, let's do that. Let's create a few new runes. So create a new rune. Yeah, I don't need that. Rune container, you can just add the rune. Don't need this. We don't need to add it to the class list. It already knows. It doesn't have a name. So let's just add the runes like that. So this thing shouldn't do too much. The constructors should do most of the heavy lifting. We might run the update info from here, but that's about it. Let's save a couple of times just because. And let's play. I can't watch. Huh? That's quite an error, right? Okay. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to. I remember now. I took everything away. Which is bad, yeah. Okay, let's try again. I think that was the problem. tried referencing things that I disabled. Okay, there we go. My name is Rob. Next level. Okay, none of the tooltips are working. Okay, but the runes did appear, but nothing happens when I hover over them. What am I missing? Okay, let's go to the debug. The debugger. Come debugger. Show me what's happening here. Okay. So in the rune, we have a tooltip, an image, a label. That's fantastic. And it is getting something from Rune Tooltip. Oh, wait a minute. Yes. I see the problem. Hey, Human Limits, Mr. Human Limits. You're back. I see the problem. So this tooltip is pretty much non-existing, right? So I can't hover over it no matter what I do. Well, that's pretty nice. I can hover over the rune itself, and even some of the other things inside of the rune. Ah, for crying in a bucket, man. Come on. Come on, man. Okay, that seems kind of obvious. Now, you know, now in hindsight, that's kind of obvious, right? Okay. So since the tooltip is basically invisible, we can't hover over it. I see. Okay. This guy, you win. We'll do events. Mouse events. Get out of here. Flippin' garbage. Okay. So, here we go. So, inside our constructor, we might as well, when we add it, do something like add. Well, okay, so there's a lot of ways we can do constructors, but is it a return? It's like callback something, callback event handler, call for reinforcements. Yes, that one. I want to call for reinforcements right now. Reinforcements, please. Please, reinforcements. Help me. Okay, so let's see. How did I do this again? It is register callback. That's the word. That's the one I want. Okay, we want to register a callback. Okay, so pointer down event. You know, pointer down event's not a bad one, because I want you to click on the rune to select it, and then click on the character you want to apply it to. Right? If that makes sense. So if we register a callback to the rune element, just like this is going to be interesting. And we make it a pointer down event. So you have to click on it to see more info about the rune. Pointer. Okay, let's do that. Pointer down event. Right. And okay, pointer down event. I'm just gonna do a public, private void rune clicked, because I kind of like doing it this way, and we'll get the pointer. Down event EVT oh my freaking greatness, event. I'll do something like that, and then we just rune clicked. It doesn't like that because that's not the way you're supposed to do it. Oh yeah, no, okay, wait, sorry. You need to do it in brackets and stuff. Yeah, I remember now. That's a function call, so we do brackets and we can do rune clicked in there. Okay. Now we can add more arguments and stuff, pass more information, etc., etc. But now we just need that. Okay. So when we click the rune, for now what we want to do is we want to change the rune tooltip display. Yeah. So game tooltip dot style dot display equals display. I think we need to do style dot display dot something. Why am I forgetting this stuff so much? Style dot display style. Okay. Sorry. Display style dot flex, right? If flex shows it. Visible, you think? Not display? I don't know. I've been using display. You might be right, because this is different to how I've been using it before. So if I understand this correctly, let's go back to, okay, this thing is still compiling. Okay, so if I understand this correctly, if you look at any of these, display would actually it's almost taking the element out of the scene entirely. So it turns the element into a flexible container for aligning and distributing items, right? So it can physically affect things around it, right? And visibility makes it visible or not inside of its container. So if it has any amount of size, it'll still push things around because it's still there, it still has its size, it's just not seen, right? Now that's not necessarily a problem in this case because the tooltip has an absolute position, which means it doesn't affect anything else. Technically, maybe. But display kind of shrinks it down and makes it disappear entirely. I'm just going to keep it display. That's the one I understand for now. Well, I understand both, right? It's not that difficult to understand, but yeah, that's the one I've been using. So, okay. So right now, when you click on it, it'll go to flex. And if you click on it again, it should then disappear, right? So can we just do if... Can we do game tooltip dot style dot display equals display style dot none? So we can check. So if it's none, we do flex. If else, so else we do. Okay, that's a bit of a one, but anyway. we'll fix this if it's needed. Yeah, so if it is not displayed, we display it. If it is displayed, we hide it, right? So you can click this thing more than once. Super. Right, and this thing has, yeah, no, it'll definitely work. This is such a foolproof, the fullest of proof piece of code I've ever written in my life. Let's try. Well, I mean, that technically it's doing it, right? I mean, it's horrible. Oh, damn, you could do that? Ooh. I don't know if I want that. I mean, if they want to do that, they can. I'll just let them do that. Okay, I think I want to do some other thing to it as well. These should be brought to front, right? I think you can just do that. So when you display it... Well, actually, can't we just make the game tooltip always bring to front? When it's created, it just goes to front. Oh, okay, but who does it? Okay, no, but then the next one is created, and that's now the new front. Right, so, yeah, maybe not. Could we have... No, we couldn't. Okay, no, so that's fine. We just do... when we activate it, we do game... tooltip dot bring to front, right? That's pretty much all we need to do. Oh, geez, my game was still running. I edited a running piece of script. My bad. Let's try this again. Stop, please, sir. Okay, let's go again. Okay, next. Click. Why does the first click not do anything? And why is it not on the front? This is clearly not the front. For crying out loud. You should be on top of everything else. It doesn't bring to front. Put it in the controller. What controller are you referencing? You mean the level prep thing? Are you... Okay, so let me see if I'm understanding what you are trying to say. So the tooltip shouldn't be part of... okay, so you want us to have a tooltip, not several. And then we just change the... We can change the display and update the text inside of the tooltip, instead of showing and hiding various tooltips which already have a set text. I get that. I understand you. Okay, so could we do this? Parent dot add game tooltip. No, now I'm just going to add all the tooltips every time I create a rune element to the... It will work, right? But it's not going to achieve what we want to achieve. Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yes, I understand what you're saying. Okay, I'm just thinking about that. So in that case, when I click it, I need to go find that tooltip. Or this needs to do something else, right? It needs to run some other kind of function somewhere. Yeah, we need to register to it. Okay, I get you. I know exactly what to do. Watch this. Are you ready? Okay. So we have a tooltip. I want to change that name, actually. Let's go change that name. Because I didn't change it here, right? So I should make this game tooltip, right? Are these my wife's fancy UI things? No. None of these are fancy. This is just me making blocks with the borders. This is still just me figuring out how the hell to make UI. Okay, so in available runes, we create a tooltip. So we can make it like the root, but I think if available runes, so we have a tooltip associated with my runes, right? I kind of like that idea. Right, and we can assign rune tooltip to it. Did that work? Did it try? No, it did not. Okay, now it did. So now it is a rune tooltip. Okay. We have the tooltip. So this is the let's just call it the rune tool tip, right? Because we could have multiple. So we give it a name, rune tooltip. We might have an item tooltip or some other type of tooltip in this menu. And I want them to be separate. I think that's a good idea. Maybe. Maybe not. But that's how I'm going to go about it. Okay, now we can take this rune tooltip and show it, and it looks like that, which is interesting. Oh, you know what? Okay. Now, which one is which here? Actually, since the rune tooltip doesn't need a USS now, because I can fiddle with it in here. Make it its own thing, right? Put it where I think it's gonna look good, and then just update that. I don't need a style sheet necessarily. It's not bad to have a style sheet, though. Yeah, let's just keep it. Right, it's fine. Okay, but now I did some things to the tooltip, so let's just unset all. So now it only gets whatever it gets from our tooltip thing up here, right? Okay. And what we'll also do is we'll just do this. So the rune element is now not actually going to create a new game tooltip, but it could get a reference to one, right? So we could do parent.queue, and what we want is a game, not a game tooltip, right? With a name. And the name is Rune Tooltip. Right, so we get a reference to it. We don't need to do anything else to it, and we don't need to add it, but we can get a reference to it, right? So now we have a reference to the game tooltip, which means we can make it do stuff if we click on it. Right, so each rune has a reference to the same tooltip, essentially. Okay, so this rune clicked callback event is going to be completely different, but for now, I'll just keep it like that. Okay, so now instead of creating a tooltip inside of this, we're just referencing our tooltip outside. Okay, let's just wait. Oh my. Ooh, jeez. I just crashed. Okay, what is null here? Oh, I guess I can't do this. So could I do it like this? So if I tell it to only connect to the tooltip or get the tooltip in here, parent is the parent of the rune element, right? If I just call parent. I'm assuming it is. I don't know, but I believe it is. Okay, that is better. So it didn't give me any errors. Now I just need to open my my UI again because it just kind of had enough of me, hey? Okay, so now we have our rune element. It does not have a tooltip, and we have a tooltip which is currently being hidden. So there we go. There's our tooltip. Okay, so let's see. The tooltip itself, I don't think I want... Actually, let's unset everything and let's just work with our USS. So we show it. Let's just suppose we put it over there. Right now, what this guy would want me to do is change the position from the top, I guess, depending on which one we click on, right? So it needs to move kind of relative to... I guess it's the top anchor, right? That's the one we have to change as we go. So we could just set the top anchor equal to whatever this thing is. It's just auto, though. But it should have a value, at least. Okay, we can figure that out. Okay, so we have a tooltip. It's there. Let's just play it and see if any of this makes sense. Oh, jeez. Okay, wait. It's not going to work exactly the way I want it to. But it shouldn't be too broken. So if I click there, yeah. Okay, it's a bit annoying, right? Okay, but now it is just one, and we can update whatever information we need dynamically. Okay. This has been a long stream. Okay, cool. So let's see. Okay, so this is our tooltip. It just has the rune tooltip style. That's fine. We could also in here in our game tooltip. Like, this thing isn't doing much, but I guess it's gonna have labels and stuff like that. So we can say we have like a title label. Yeah, man, you helped a lot. Thanks. Cheers. Have a good day or good evening. I guess it's an evening now, hey? Okay, let me continue. So what we have here is a private label, and this is going to be the tooltip title. And then we have a private label tooltip content. Alright, just something like that. And we can do a let's just make sure I'm not being dumb. Okay, add class list rune. Okay, so tooltip, we don't want to do that. We want to do that somewhere else. So we just want to add the labels at least. Yeah, so tooltip title is a new label, and then we just add the tooltip title. Right, and we essentially just want to do the same thing, but for the content. Just create the labels. And we can set the text, just so we have something to look at. Equals title. And tooltip content.text. I think I want to do a string. No, actually, I don't have to do that. I could just do this the old-fashioned way. This is let's just see, line 1, 50, and then we do a break. It's like this, right? New line. It doesn't seem to want to do that. Do I need to do a string.format if I want that? So if I want to do line 1, 50. Oh wait, did I just use the wrong slash? I might have just done that. Yep. Yeah, no, it totally understands. Okay, so let's just do this a couple of times. Yeah, whatever, it can say line 150 every time, I don't care. Let's not make a big deal out of it, right? Okay, so this will just be the basic text, so we can just see what it looks like. Okay, so now our rune element, obviously when we click, so we get the game tooltip. Okay, so we get reference to the game tooltip, that's fine, and then we check whether or not it is displayed or not, and we do stuff with it. Okay. So I think the rune element itself maybe can hold a private private boolean is let's just say TT displayed. TT displayed. Okay. So we could do a couple of things. When we click on it, we can also check if this one is already displayed. If so TT displayed. Okay, so let's think about this. If the tooltip is displayed for this specific rune, and you click on it again, I wanted to hide the tooltip. Right, so that's the first thing. That makes sense. Just hide it. If the tooltip is in fact the displayed tooltip, just hide it. If it's not the displayed tooltip, I want to make it the display tooltip by changing the text or something like that. Okay, so let's try something here. So else, and we can still see whether or not the tooltip is being displayed at least, right? So let's say it is not being displayed, or you know what? Actually, we can just force it to be displayed anyway. So if it is not, we make it displayed. Let's just delete that. Okay, so we display it, right? Then, okay, I'm probably going to have to build out this logic a little bit more, but for now, let's just see if we can get something working here. So could we do game tooltip.style dot position, or maybe it's just dot top. Yeah, what does this actually do? What is top? Top distance from elements box during layout. Okay. Top equals let's see style.top. So this should refer to the rune itself. So if we take the top and we set it to that top, so that should do something. Now, and we should obviously once then TT displayed is equal to true, right? So if you click on it, you get a reference to the tooltip. First of all, it's not going to be displayed, right? So that's fine. If you click on it, okay, but then it should come up and move it and make this true. Okay, so now it's true. If you click on it again, that means this is true, which would mean I want to hide it. And then I want to do TT displayed equals false. Okay? But if I click on a different one, I don't actually want to hide it. Okay, wait, there's a problem here. There's a problem here. If I click on a different one, then I'll have two that is true simultaneously. Yeah, so yeah, so this is kind of not going to work entirely. I might have to do this displaying and things like that in a different function, potentially. Yeah, I might have to do it somewhere else. I can still listen to the event here, but I don't actually do anything with it here. I pass it on to someplace else where all the rune clicks can come together, and we can figure out which one to display and which one to hide, etc. Okay, let's work with it just like that. I don't think this is going to be good. This is going to be not the behavior I would like, but let's see at least what it does, right? I think... Okay, I can actually see the text there. I forgot to... Yeah, you can see the title and all the text. Okay, so clicking on these... Okay, so they're not moving, which is also a problem. So let's open our debugger. and let's just try and figure out why. What exactly is happening here? Right, so this element, for instance, okay, wait, let's go to like the second rune, right? So the second rune has a X and Y coordinate. Yeah, and I'm assuming the Y coordinate changes by the size. Yeah, so 200, right? Because each has a height of 200. Okay, and then the game tooltip has a absolute coordinate, Y equals 78. And that never changes, right? So I want this world bound. Yeah. So layout is just 0 because it's absolute. And this top did not change ever, no matter what I clicked. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay, so this is what we want to have reference to. We want to set that equal to the rune element's position in some way. It's okay. Yeah. So yeah, this is some random number. If I make it 40, it's still not entirely what I thought it would be. 0. Oh, it's still within this. Oh, okay, I see. Okay, so this piece of code doesn't do anything. Let's do a debug. Debug dot log. I just want to see something. If I do style dot top. Okay, let's just do that. So I just wanted to tell me its position. Don't worry about anything else right now. Null. Okay. So it doesn't actually know what its position is. Okay, so that is then not something we can return. So style.top does not work. Okay. Okay, what else could this be? Offset, position offsets. I thought USS property is top. Right. But it just gives me nothing. And style should access. So if I do the style dot top over there, does that do something different? We can try it, see if we're getting closer. Okay. Yeah, if I can just get this value somehow to change the height of that one to go to the correct rune element. Null, 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 null. Okay, so that does not do it. Interesting, ne? Very strange. Well, actually, then I don't know how to move this thing. I don't know how to move it except for making it a child of the rune. Because that I can do. Like if I just do this, when you click on it, we just make it a we just do add game tooltip, right? So we just add it. Okay, there's going to be a problem, right? Because I'm going to add it once, and then all of the other guys are going to forget about this. Yeah, so they're not going to get... no, maybe they can. They can actually still, because it still has the same name. Yeah, because it can drill down into the visual elements, right? Yeah, let's... Oh, well, let's see. Just add the tooltip to it. But does it change the style in any way? I hope it doesn't. We'll see now. Okay, so a bunch of nulls, that's fine. Okay. Oh, it does change some of the styles. Okay, interesting. Okay, so it is actually moving about because I added it to the various tooltips and it changes the style. Okay. This might be something, right? The only problem is, like, I don't think it's actually in the front. Nope. Doesn't seem to be. Okay. We could try something else. Let's see what happens if I do bring to front on the rune itself that I click. Maybe that does something? Right, it's not impossible. So if it brings, if this is now a child of the rune and it brings everything to the front, then maybe it's okay. Right, it's specifically a problem for the bottom one. Nah, it still doesn't bring it to front. Oh, geez. This actually breaks quite a few things. Okay, so that's definitely bad. Like, none of the other clicking works anymore after I did that. Okay, so we don't want to do bring to front. So we can just add the tooltip if we wanted. I'm not entirely sure this is the way I should do this. Yeah. Unfortunately, we also can't seem to find the top. Maybe the Rune Manager can, though. Okay, so maybe we can do... No, not the Rune Manager. The Level Prep UI. So right here, we adding the runes somewhere. I'm sure we did add the runes here. Yeah. Where's that? Oh, here we go. Okay. So what if we do rune dot style over here dot top? What if we do a debug log of that? Maybe this thing can figure out where it is. Actually, I don't know. Yeah, like it seems like the constructor is not capable of figuring out what its position is. And that could be okay. I might not need that, but yeah, it's a bit weird. Okay, so let's try that. Just have to understand where I need to do this from. Then I should be okay. Why is my game blank? What happened? Did we get a error? I don't think we did. Or it's just busy compiling. Okay. Cool. Let's try this. Let's see if it knows where things are. Null, null, null. Okay, so it created 3 and it has no idea where it is in the world. That's very interesting. So how do we get the position? Like it's such a weird thing. Like I just want to know what the position is of this rune so that I can move it around in the UI. So okay, let's see. Let's Google something, right? So how to get position of visual elements in UI toolkit with C#, right? Hey, cheers, Miss Human Limiter. Have a good one. Okay. So, have you tried? And left. Oh, apparently this does work for some people. So visual element .style.top or .style.left is a thing that you can do. Resolved style. Okay. Okay. So there's another thing called resolved style. Maybe that is the one that we want, because if you think about it, the initial style doesn't mean anything, right? It's just auto. But then once it compiled and little things and positioned everything, it might get the actual style. Okay, we can try that. You know what? We should also try. So let's do. This is a level rep plus that, and then we can do the same thing in my actual rune element when we click on it. But we do. Yeah, we just do result style dot top, and we make this the rune collect. Okay, let's see if that does anything. So I have both of those changes simultaneously, so I don't have to do all of this reloading every single time. We can just see everything work or everything not work. Okay, let's give it a go. Thought I would be much further along with this, but this has been a toughie. Okay, 0, 0, 0. Might not be correct. Now, if I click on them, 420, 220, 220, 620. Okay, so the result style when they are created, nobody knows, right? That's nonsense. But if you click on them, that is the correct position. Fantastic. Okay, there we go. So in the level prep UI, this just gives us nothing. But in the actual rune, when we click on it, so a little bit later on, it does give us something, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want. Okay, so that means we could do something like game tooltip dot resolved style dot top equals resolved style dot top. Or is that not allowed? So this is just getting it. Okay, so maybe we just need style then. So getting the resolve style is getting it. That is setting it. Okay, let's try it. So much compiling today. There we go. That's actually perfect. It's still not on the front, which is unfortunate, but it is moving with our blocks and it's in line. Okay, that is perfect. Okay, we can do a bunch of things from there, I guess. Okay, but I'm going to call it a day. Well, I'm going to call it a stream at least. It's definitely not a day yet. I still have a bunch of other work to do, so I'm going to get into the other work. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I don't think there's many people left right now. Yeah, no. Everybody left. Okay, but that's cool. To those of you who are still around, thank you. And cheers. See you in the next one.